I'm going to go ahead and now dive a little bit deeper, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I even began to formalize the concept of winning every day. As I shared earlier, my parents are from La Piedad, Michoacan, still speak Spanish, but still believe they speak English, right? They still attempt it every single day, especially over the phone, over speaker. And it's difficult to hear them, or listen to them, but it's beautiful that they are lively and they're still here with me. Growing up in Salinas, California. So now I'm telling you a little bit of my story, so that way you get the full context of how to move forward into this next piece. I'm the youngest of four. Grew up in Salinas, California. There's a lot of gangs in Salinas, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of the type of neighborhood where we don't necessarily we didn't have the healthy relationships with police. We didn't have the healthy relationship with resources, mental health. I mean, this is 1992, 1993, when I'm growing up in Salinas, California. So I grew up having trouble with focusing in school, like I shared earlier. My middle school years were, I was a DJ, I was an athlete, I painted bikes, I sold PlayStations, I attempted to fix Nintendos. I was getting my mind into everything and anything that I could do. But there was something interesting about the way I grew up. I did not speak for the first 5 years. I was nonverbal. I was just an observer, I guess, for the first 5 years, in coming into who I am. Right around, we're going to skip over to now my high school year. So getting to high school, I had the opportunity to try out for a football team, first time ever. And I remember the time where I tried out, I finally made the team and we're getting ready for the season. Now, every night before I used to go to sleep, I used to walk into my parents' bedroom and I used to say good night to my mom, good night to my dad. And I remember on this particular night, it was a Sunday night, and that week it was leading up to the game. It was a Friday. It was going to be a Friday night game, and I was extremely excited for my first ever game. And my parents went ahead and said good night. My mom, if you speak Spanish, she said "Sueña con los angelitos" after I gave her a kiss on the forehead, and decided to go back to bed, right? So I'm laying there and decided to call it a night right around 10:30. At 2 a.m, my life really just would change courses forever. It took an extreme pivot. 2 a.m, my dad comes into my room, kicks the door open and yells, "Go get your mom." Now, he yelled this is 3 a.m, woke me up out of bed. I get up, I startled. All I could think was run. All I heard was "Go get your mom." I didn't think, I just took action. I went outside, I looked to my right, looked to my left, and there I see my mom in a full sprint, running down the street with no shoes. Now, my mom's name is Maria. There was no reason for this in my mind. There was no connection as to why this was happening. But of course, I did what anybody in that case would do that cares, which is I ran after her. I finally caught up to my mom, grabbed her by her arms, turned her around, and I said, "Mom, wake up. Like, what are you doing? Mom, please wake up." I'll never forget the startled, the fear, the watery eyes, the bloodshot eyes, that I remember looking back at me when I was looking into my mother's eyes. I said, "Mom, please stop. You're scaring me." The next words out of her mouth were, "Somebody help. This man is grabbing me." I didn't understand. I still was in the idea of sleepwalk. And I said, "Mom, please stop. You're scaring me. She then said, somebody help. This man is grabbing me. Call the police. Now, it sunk in that moment that my position as a son was no longer mine. I was looking at my mom, but she was not looking at her son. That was a very quick realization. Again, 2:30 in the morning. The last thing I want is a woman yelling, "This man is grabbing me." Being Mexicano, there's absolutely no way that I have any leverage at this point because she doesn't see sun. I'm a brown man and it's 2 in the morning and it's in the neighborhood. I took a deep breath. I looked into her eyes and I said, Maria, which is her name, you're okay. Everything's going to be okay. My name is Alvaro and I'm here to help you. It took about 2 to 3 minutes of her breathing. I calmed her down. No training, no understanding, just acting, just taking action in the now. I proceeded to walk her back to the house, sat her down, made her some tea, said she was safe, told her, assured her, and reinforced that I was here to help, that she had done nothing wrong, that it was okay. I talked to my dad outside and he said, what's going on? And I said, I don't know, but she just doesn't remember who I am. She doesn't remember this being her house. And in an instant, I was able to make a decision that I still didn't know was the right decision. I had to call 911. Now I hesitated. I hesitated because I didn't want to be the reason we got separated as a family. I hesitated because I didn't want to be the reason I caused more harm to the people that I love. I hesitated because I wish I was more prepared to handle the situation, but I wasn't. Now, I did mention I was the youngest of 4, so where's everybody else? Just to give you a context and a picture, my oldest brother was in jail. My other sister was 16. She was pregnant about a week from having her first baby, which is now my niece. And my other sister was so asleep through the entire process. And she was in that time where it was difficult for her to express her emotions, very cut off. She dealt with it differently. So I called 911. I let them know that it wasn't an emergency, but I just didn't know what to do. I let them know that there was nobody in harm, but it was pretty bad at the same time. We proceeded to take my mother into the hospital. She quickly was transferred over to the mental institution. When she entered, she panicked and she attempted to run, and 4 men strapped her in a jacket and stuck a needle in her neck. And that caused such a deepening anger, such a deepening reality of wanting to lose it at that moment. She yelled, Alvaro, help. Not son, not anybody else, but the person that had made a connection with her in her state. I wasn't able to do anything. I didn't want to act out. I didn't want to be called immature. I didn't want to mess up, right? I didn't want to mess up because I was the source. I did see it happen. I felt like I had some sort of control, but I couldn't lose control of what the little control that I thought I had. I'm translating for my parents. I'm keeping it together. Very numbing during this time. Still a little bit of a fog. But we decided to go home. We have to go home. We couldn't stay there. And you could just imagine the not knowing, the unknown, the worry, all of that will start to set in as time moves forward. So we went back. That next Tuesday, my dad said, well, I have to go to work. So that means that you have to go to school. And he said, that's what we have to do as men. We have to keep going. So I decided to go to school. Don't remember that day at all, as you can imagine. The next day, and my dad was the occasional drinker, right? He worked really, really hard. He was the only person in the family providing. So I saw him go from 1 beer to 2 beers to 4 beers to a bottle to like right as the week was progressing and not knowing, I'm sure it was eating him up inside, knowing he's about to have a daughter, he's about to be a grandfather of a 16-year-old, and this is all happening. And we don't have the other the oldest to support in this moment. So then comes a decision that the game that I love the most, I'm not going to play. Because I can't have fun. I can't go out there and pretend while my family's suffering, while my real home team is losing. But then I started to think what my gifts were. What do I do for this family? And it was always humor. I was the person that would bring joy. I'd make everybody laugh. And I was like, man, well, my jokes are not going to work right now. I says, I have an idea. And this is where ambitious Al took it upon himself to attempt to fix the situation. Say, I have an idea. I'm going to play the game. I'm going to play my first game. I'm going to score 6 touchdowns. 1 touchdown for every family member. That'll get the news and the newspaper's attention. They'll come and interview me. They'll take a picture. I'll say, they'll give me the game ball and I'll say, this is for my familia. I love you, Mom. It'll be a quote. I'll cut it out and it'll motivate and it'll start to switch it up. And maybe that'll kind of, give us the jolt of energy that we need. So at that time, Magic Johnson would talk a lot about how to be positive. And so I watched a little bit of Magic Johnson. Also, Tony Robbins would talk about affirmations. And my parents taught me about prayer. So I did it all. So I write down your dreams, write them all. I wrote it all down, have the whole plan. I went outside and I said, God, if you exist, I need you to show up right now. Like I need you to come through. I prayed about it. I wrote it down. I affirmed it. I believed it. I was about it. I did everything Tony Robbins said. I did everything Magic Johnson said to do. I did everything that my mom and my grandma had taught me. I lit the candle. I did the whole thing. So here comes, I'm prepared. I'm prepared to win. Here we go. So we get into the game. First quarter, it's not going the way I'm planning it. I don't know. I don't know when these 6 touchdowns are coming. I need this to happen because you score 1 touchdown, you don't get the attention, right? I got to get 6. So I'm out there and I can feel it. And everybody's like, first game, the stands are full. And it's like, I know Mom isn't there, but I do know, and I can feel her. I'm doing this for her and for them. So 2 minutes into the second quarter, I look up at the scoreboard and we're down 42-0. Yeah. Oh, the feeling of failure, the feeling of, and I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to cuss, but I'm giving you the real in the moment, the feeling of fuck, like this is bullshit, like this, oh no, right? Like, so I lost it. I think I got grabbed and I just swang at somebody. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I was frustrated, not at the fact that we were losing, but I was frustrated at the fact that I was playing at such a high level with so much emotion, so much passion, so much intensity. I was doing something elevated. I had never felt this feeling of how powerful. I felt light. I felt fast. I was doing everything on that team, and we're still losing. So the ref calls a flag. I get pulled out of the game. The coach grabs my face mask and he says, Al, get it together. What's wrong with you? And I was like, right, just watery eyes. And he says, young man, one day you're going to understand that it's not all about you. You just always wanted to be about you. Oh, and that got me even more upset because it wasn't even about me. It was about my mom and my family and right?
Yeah.
And then he says, every coach still uses this till this day. Al, you'll understand. There's no I in team, right? There's no I in team. And my response as a freshman was, but there is a fucking I in win. And he said, well, if you can't play, then you cannot win. He kicked me off. I was done for 2 weeks, went back to the locker room, got escorted. I changed. I didn't care. And I was like, well, I'm not even getting a ride home. I don't care. I can't call anybody. My dad's working. I can't tell. And I was like, but I'm going to get sent to the office and I have to make, and I know administrator is there because they're closed, but the administrator were there. What I didn't want was a call home. I didn't want anybody at home to get a call about trouble that I was causing when I was actually attempting to do something positive. So we lost the game. I didn't get the ball. I didn't get the newspaper. I didn't get to manifest my vision, even though I did everything Tony Robbins said, everything Magic Johnson said, everything my grandma had told me, everything had happened. Now, I had a decision to make right before I showed up at the house. There was already a cold feeling. Mom was coming home and we were getting we got the diagnosis, and it was, she suffered an episode, and she suffers of a bipolar depression disorder with a few other underlying factors. And she's had episodes since then, not as severe, but where it's a week or two where it's just she's somewhere else. So through the times, we went to therapy, we did all these things. My mom now continues to walk her process, to do her part. But what I lost that game, I lost the position as a son, but what I gained was an understanding of my why. And that's what was the most powerful, is that I played for them at a level that I've never played at. Now, when I tap into my why, I speak at a level that I've never spoken. When I connect with others, I only understand all out. I didn't know what all out meant until I started to tap in, until I started to realize my win comes from my loss. The real win now, I'm a founder, I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Like, there's these things I have came up because of this moment that I can continue to tap into. So this is what I want us to do now, because whenever I'm not feeling the energy, whenever I'm not feeling like, or I'm feeling like I'm losing, I go back to tapping into why do I do what I do. So in order to win, the new acronym, I want you to write this down, is why is necessary. In order to win, a why is necessary. So I want us to think about this as we go back into our breakout rooms, and we'll add a little bit more time to our breakout rooms because this part takes a little bit more time. I want you to think about a person, and you can write this in the chat. I want you to think about a person that, when you think sacrifice, I want you to, who is that person? When you think of somebody that supports you, sacrifices, or has sacrificed, or did something for you, or matters so much to you, I want you to think about who that person is for you.